Welcome back to Z to Z. If you're a first-time listener to this podcast, we are a franchise podcast that is focused on providing information to Z's by Z's. Now, I'm very excited to have Marco Sanchez, relationship manager for Bloom Growth. He is out of the great state of Texas. Bloom Growth is a software company that offers an operational management platform that organizes your business. I've had a chance to take a look at it prior to getting Marcos on the show. It's a very impressive tool, so I'm thrilled to have Marcos on the show. So let's talk Z to Z. Thank you, Marcos, for being on Z to Z. We really appreciate the opportunity for you to be on the show. It's been a long time coming. I know that we've talked a lot about getting you on the show, and I'm so glad that we were able to that you were able to get on and give us your great wisdom.
Absolutely. I'm happy to be here. I'm very excited to be here. It's a wonderful day outside, and absolutely, man, I'm excited to provide any help and value that we can to help all the people.
Well, that's good, man. That's good. I was very intrigued, and I'm going to tell a little story how it came to be and how I got to know you and Bloom Growth. I'm sorry. So Jerry Hendley, is a good friend of mine. Jerry, he's out of Florida, and he's the one who introduced me to Bloom Growth. And then we met you. Was it? It was in Las Vegas, wasn't it? Or it wasn't Las Vegas.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it was Las Vegas. So we met. We had a great. We connected well the first time I met you, and we pretty much haven't stopped connecting since then. I mean, you've helped us a lot. As part of the Hispanic Leadership or Latino Franchise Leadership Council, you've supported us and helped us there, so we appreciate that. But we're here to talk about Bloom Growth and how it supports and helps the franchise industry. Tell us a little bit about Bloom Growth and what your role is there.
Sure. So Bloom Growth, a lot of people are like, well, what is this? What is Bloom Growth? Bloom Growth is an ecosystem for organizational growth. We were established 2013, and we're all over the world. So we're 100% remote, and we can help anybody, whether they're in an office or remote as well. But what we do is we help people with whether they're just starting out as an entrepreneur or if they've got their small business set and they're looking to scale up. We help everybody, and we do it through our organizational growth in our ecosystem, our platform. And that's just something that we love to help. We have our core values that really we embody them on a daily basis. This is something that we do to make sure that we help everybody. So it's, we love helping. That's my main thing. You mentioned the Latino Council. I love to help, right? We optimize. How can we make you and your business better? What are you doing now? How can we optimize it? And finding a way to win, right? Yeah. Not every square peg's gonna fit, into a circle hole. So we gotta find a way to win and always be hungry, right? Make sure you're growing daily. What can we do to help you grow? That type of mentality is what we embody as Bloom Growth. We want to help. We want to help you and your company grow, scale it up, find the metrics that make sense, and work through that. So that's in a nutshell. That's what Bloom Growth is all about. But there's a few things that go along with that. Our platform, I mentioned our platform, our ecosystem. You can customize it to fit your needs, and we can talk more about that as well. You want to make sure that you get consistency by proven processes. Make sure that you're speedy with it. You're going to get training, support, customization from us. Our support team is bilingual, right? We have a team that's based out of Nicaragua that can help anybody in Spanish, right? And we have a good amount of people out all over the world that also speak Spanish and a few other languages. And of course, the data, right? The ability to track how you're doing, make that data into information, turn it into metrics to be able to use to your advantage to grow your business, your franchise. And, we have a lot of tools in our software. We have a mobile app, you're able to have to-dos. We have Zapier integration. Of course, we have an API that we can share with people who are looking to do that. So in a nutshell, that's what Bloom Growth is and what we're all about.
Right, right. And what now? So what is it that what's your role there within Bloom?
So I'm a relationship manager. I'm part of the business development team. And what I do specifically is I help our partners. So our coaches, our implementers, or whether they're a franchise business consultant, I make sure that they have the tools that they need to be successful in helping their clients. So their clients will be the people that are using our software in conjunction with our partners, right? So how can you help your client? How can I help your client succeed? What I do specifically is I provide training for our coaches. I'll provide if I have to facilitate something for them, I make sure they have the right connection. They get the right introduction, and we also support in ways of marketing. We have co-marketing. It's something that we do specifically to help our coaches to be able to make sure they are successful in doing so. So our
Right.
co-marketing initiatives, participating in boards, we're like our podcast today, or there's panels that we can speak at, presentations, however I can support you as a coach and as a partner to be successful in your endeavors.
Right. Well, it's great because when you talk about coaching, you talk about FBC. I was an FBC for quite a few companies, and that's an important task to get the franchisees aligned. And sometimes it's hard to do that when we all the brands, of course, had a system, but it's very hard. It's sometimes it's almost like herding cats for all the franchisees to go consistently, and that was the struggle, is trying to get them all in one platform, trying to get them in one mindset, trying to get them to do things consistently, and planning their day to day. So Bloom, I'm assuming, helps with the herding of the cats, if you will, right?
Absolutely. And that's actually a really great analogy, because it does become that way, because everybody has their own free will to be like, I want to do this, I want to do that. Great. But as a brand, as a franchisor, you want to go a certain way. And what we help with is that onboarding, that continuity. So gathering all these cute little kittens and cats and making sure they're all marching the way that the brand wants, the
Yeah.
consultant wants, the franchisor wants, right? Getting everybody on the same path. You've got the same metrics. Maybe you might change in different markets, but you have something defined for them. You have their business plan that you're going to work with, right? And what we do is we make sure that they all have that same onboarding experience for success. Set them up for success, walk them through training on how to use our tool to execute that business plan, to execute that same walk you want them to do. So
Right.
everybody's in the line and everybody gets that same, that continuity of experience for the onboarding and also execution.
Franchising is about obviously following the model and being consistent. It's important to have that consistency, and I think that's where franchisors struggle with. It winds up being a mindset that needs to be changed, right? When, especially, and I'm probably going in a little deeper probably than I need to, but I know that I've been in franchising for many, many years, and I did franchise development, and it really, a lot of the problems start with picking the wrong franchisees. Let's just face it. It is sometimes what it is. But once you get the franchisees on board, it becomes difficult to try to get them all aligned in order to build that consistency across all of their units across the board. Now, tell me, how does that work and how does that look like for a franchisee? So I'm a franchisee. How is Bloom going to help me get myself consistent and get that consistent experience?
A very, very good question. And as you mentioned, sometimes we pick the wrong franchisees, but our ecosystem can help turn that around, right? It provides them a platform, a launch pad to really be able to to succeed. And the way that we do that is in a few different ways. So our software has several different features and tools that help you get to that. So the first thing that you really want to have is a business plan, right? So you have this business plan and you need to execute it. And sometimes you have standard operating procedures. Yeah, they know how to do that. Great. But where do you measure that? How do you measure that? That's where our software comes in. It gives them a platform, an ecosystem to have metrics on a weekly basis of being able to succeed. And we also set our clients up for success by providing them full on training. So we're going to train every one of your clients that's on the software on how to use our software. That's step number one. If you have the tool, you got to know how to use it, right?
Mhm.
Step number two, let's make sure that it's set up the way that the franchisor set up. And really, that step number two happens before the client even logs on, because we'll make templated accounts per the franchisor or the brand, guides. So we get with you guys, we make sure that it's what you want it to look like for everybody. And anytime we create a account for a new franchisee, they get the same experience all
Wow.
across the board every time. So again, that continuity, right? So we build that and we roll it out. We start training them. And we also provide, of course, full on support. We have on demand support. When you need us, we're going to be able to get you taken care of, whether it's in online, I was going to say in person, but of course it could be Zoom. I mean, not in person real, but a Zoom call. We have chat, we have phone, and of course, we have a great database where you can go and find out any questions you might have. You do a quick little search on our knowledge base and you'll find the answer. So the support aspect of it, fully giving our clients that white glove service, right? That world-class white glove service you're not going to find anywhere else.
Right.
That also includes data upload. What does that mean? Let me give you a scenario. Let's say we're just starting out and we're coming up with a template, and you tell me, you say, Marco, here's what I want everybody's account to look like. Great. We're going to create that template. We're going to roll it out. We onboard one of your franchisees, and they have, or you guys came up with an organization chart, whether they might just have 3 people or 15. It doesn't matter. And let's make it one step more complicated. You say, you know what, Marco, we did not write this down. We did not put it in a document, but what I do have is a clear picture of the chalkboard that we were drawing on, that we had our organizational chart. Cool, great. Because what we're going to do is send that over to our data team. They're going to pull the information out of that picture and put it into the account. So we're able to do that. Now, of course, if you have documents, a lot of people have Excel, a lot of people have, Word documents. We can take that information and upload that data into the respective areas. Again, freeing time from franchisees, franchisors, brands, consultants. You're not doing the data entry on that stuff when we're creating it, because we want to make sure when they log on and you're meeting with them, it's ready to rock and roll. So we got this whole support team that's going to be able to do that to succeed. That's how we're going to make sure that all the franchisees have that, because they have a platform to measure, to have metrics that's measuring how they're executing the business plan that you guys set for them, right? And they have a full team that's going to be able to help them use the software if they need a refresher, if they have a new member that just signed up, and we're able to provide that to them. Maybe they uploaded, maybe you guys created a new organizational chart. Great, send that over to us. We'll get that taken care of. So we really do embody doing this together, because we want to make sure everybody's working as a team. And this is how we do it, is executing the accounts as the template of per the franchisor, the brand, the consultant. And as a franchisee, you get our full support for creating your account as it should be, helping you and training you on using the tools and features of our software to make you a master user. and providing you the support when something goes wrong, when you have a question. We have that, and we have different ways of getting in contact with us. So we just provide that full world class service, man.
Well, I mean, that I got to tell you, that's pretty impressive, because a lot of that takes a lot of time, right? And especially a lot of most of these franchisees don't have the luxury of time, and so sometimes when they want to go to support or help support or whatever for what particular software they have, it usually takes days, or sometimes they don't get a hold of anybody, right? So it's important. So that's critical to know that you guys are there to support them, no matter what, right? So and are that has to be encouraging. One of the things that, I mean, there's many types of things that the franchisee goes through in a sense of growth, right? So retention, employee retention and onboarding, does Bloom support that in any way?
Absolutely. And that's actually a really good point to talk about, right? People are, well, how does this help me? Why do I need this? Well, you need a tool. We're different than most of the other softwares that most people come up with, right? We're not a CRM. We're an ecosystem for growth for your business. We're not a procedural place. We're a place where you can measure your success. And a lot of people are asking, okay, great. Coaches, as my position specifically, I partner with coaches. I partner with people like you, Louis.
Mm-hmm.
How does that help me as a coach? Well, we have a couple of different reasons why. So I mentioned that we love partnership. What we've seen is through partnership with Bloom Growth, there's a 90% client retention rate, because as coaches are coaching and consultants are consulting, they have a tool that they're able to hold people accountable in a positive way, reinforcing the growth. 90% retention rate, and that's huge, right?
That is big.
And I mentioned at the beginning, we have co-hosting opportunities for webinars, for live events, for booths. We can partner with you. We want to partner with you. We want to provide that value. The co-marketing initiatives are huge, right? We can participate where we need to, for paneling, for I was at the Franquicia Fest with Felipe and Erica, and they asked me a couple of questions while I was in the audience, and we were able to help. So whatever the case might be, here's a kicker as well. As a coach, for me, for my specific position, as a coach, we provide up to 25% revenue, right? And there's details to that, but it's great. It's about partnership, right? It's about the retention rate. How can we help your clients stay on track? Well, with our software, our ecosystem, you're able to keep them on track and utilizing the tool to measure how they're doing and to make adjustments as they see fit. So when you have it there in front of you and you can see it, you look at the graphs, you look at the numbers, and you're like, okay, this is what I need to do. As a consultant, as a coach, you're able to make that, that adjustment. But yeah, man, it's a pretty huge number for retention rate on clients.
Yeah, 90%. I mean, that's huge. I mean, especially in this market right now, the way we're going through. I mean, one of the biggest things, I was looking at some data the other day. There has been a growth in 2022 in franchising, but compared, it was a growth, but compared to the previous years, it's still slow. And so there's not a lot of people, entrepreneurs, that are looking into franchising, which that's a whole other podcast, right? And understanding franchising and what's the pros and cons of that. But I think a lot of that and I may be wrong, but you tell me, is the state of the economy. We're talking about inflation, higher interest rates, and basically overall lack of confidence that I think that an entrepreneur is going to have. And I think it's important to have tools, and it's important to have the right tools within your system as a franchisor, to have the right system that'll lead to the success of your franchisees, right? And so would you agree that if a good franchisor is going to have the right tools in their in their toolbox to support and not so much guarantee, but at least to support and give them a buying chance into being a successful franchisee, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And something to kind of add to that is, people ask us, well, okay, well, how can I use this tool? I mentioned you have the customization, right? Well, guess what? That really comes into play because every consultant's going to be different, right? Every franchise consultant's going to be different. Every coach is going to be different. Some people might use a specific growth system to help coach. Our software is flexible and it'll let you make the necessary customizations to fit your needs. So, and
Yeah.
a lot of people ask, well, how does that help? Well, we're flexible. We're able to be dynamic along with you because we know things change. In this economy, things change. What do we need to make a change? Great. We can make the change in the software as well.
Yeah.
Right. So being flexible I think, is also a big contributor to that, to be able to provide.
Yeah, no, and and then on top of all that, then you got the competition of all the other franchise organizations that are out there. Um, so it's really important. And given an example that now one of my clients that I'm working with now, they're transitioning from a brick and mortar or mom and pop, I should say, over transition into the franchise model. And a lot of that process is providing them with the right tools to have their franchisees be successful down the line. And talking to folks like yourself, talking to folks like, like for example, I had PEO Link, Luke, Vice President of PEO Link, at letting us know what they do for the back office. You're more front office type of thing. It's kind of both. I would suspect, front and back office type of support, but it's important for a franchisee to really. So when you're looking for a franchise and you're looking to buy a franchise or buying into a franchise, wouldn't you want to ask what type of tools, that support tools, does a franchisor have for the franchisees? I mean, would you agree that that would be a good question to ask?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so a lot of our coaches will immediately say, okay, great. You need this tool. This is how we can grow together. This is how we can make sure that we're measuring, right? How do you know you're doing well if you're not measuring? How do you know you're doing bad if you're not measuring, right? How do we provide that? And as a tool, you're absolutely right. And what I tell people is like, look, Bloom Growth, it's a comprehensive business software. It combines all your meetings, your business plan, your organizer, your goal trackers, and it's an accountability booster, and it just creates that consistency and sustainable growth, right?
Right.
And that's a tool, right? That's going to lead you to more productivity. That's going to lead you to better time management. You mentioned, a lot of people don't have time. You're absolutely right. And it just gets that greater accountability throughout the entire organization, throughout the entire Z's, the franchisors, the brand, that we have, the consultants. It brings everybody move forward together using that.
Right. Now, what's important is once a franchisee is determined that a franchisor has the right tools for success, and it's getting them to use those tools, right? That's a whole other thing. And it's a coaching, the FBC has got to make sure that they're using all the tools that's there. But one of the things that a franchisee has to understand is understanding what their KPIs are. Things like gross sales, franchise profits, return on investments, all those types of things that really drive their revenue and get them to help. So, help them to be successful. What does Bloom do to help with those KPIs?
That's a very good question, and you hit it right on the head, right? Those KPIs, the measurables, ultimately. Well, what we do is, let's take it a step higher and let's go back to that business plan. The business plan, you have your big, hairy, audacious goal. In 10 or 15 years, I want to make 50 million, right? Well, with our software, you can step it back down to 5 years. In 5 years, which is about half the time, if it's 10 years, you want to get to 25 million. Well, let's break it down to 3 years, and you want to get down to 15 million. To 1 year, you want to get it down to 1 to 2 million, and you keep going all the way down to where you get your KPI. You were talking about your sales. Great. Through that, you know that this week you have to make sales of 10 to, 30,000, whatever the case might be, in whatever scale you're in. What our software does and our Bloom Growth platform can do is give you the space for that, because everybody should be accountable, right? Everybody has their own accountabilities and what they're responsible for. Me, I'm responsible for sales. So I have my KPI that I have to make these sales this week in order to feed into the monthly goal, to the quarterly goal, to the yearly goal, the 5-year goal, to the 10-year goal. So, it all feeds into that. So it gives you a place to track your metrics, a place for you to put down where you're at. And also, it gives you these visual cues of seeing the trends. So you can see if you're starting to trend down. You can see if you're starting to trend up at a quick glance. So when you meet with as a franchisor, a brand, or a consultant, a coach, when you meet with the franchisee, you can talk about that and say, you know what, you're doing great. Let's continue that. Let's duplicate it. Let's keep going. Or make the adjustment if you're not trending up. If you're trending down, all right, well, what are we doing and what are we not doing? So it breaks it down to a couple of different ways. From that metric that you're tracking, the KPI, you're able to make these decisions to grow, to go to the next step. So at a basic level, our software can help you track all these KPIs to be able to move forward and make decisions based on real data, information at that point.
So let me ask you this. What does your platform work in conjunction with other CRMs, other platforms? Can they interlock, have a good API and connectivity?
Absolutely. So yeah, you hit it right on the head. Our software integrates with thousands of other software, with CRM, with Google, with Microsoft. It integrates with them in several different ways. You can integrate it with our API, right? If you want to get very advanced, you surely can. We also have Zapier. It's like an if this, then that tool where you can have it talk to other applications, other platforms, other SaaS software to pull data in, or also, make if this, then that statements. Of course, that's just very basic. It can get more complex than that. But yes, it integrates with software. We do it. Most of our clients do it. They pull information from their CRM that they need, because the CRM is the procedural part, right? This is the day-to-day stuff that you should be doing. But measuring that day-to-day stuff is what we help you with. And it integrates with all these thousands of softwares to be able to provide you the full picture. And you mentioned sometimes we have too many tools or not enough tools. This is what helps you. Our integration feature is what helps alleviate some of that, to where you're not having to go to multiple areas to do the same thing, right? Because they might need it for this or for that. Great. We can just integrate it and you don't have to worry about that.
So would this be considered more of a back office tool, a front office tool, or a little bit of hybrid of both?
Actually, that's a good question. So I would say that this is mostly going to be used by leadership teams. Now, it does later get rolled out to, more level team members, maybe supervisors, and sometimes, a little further down, but not always. So I would say this is mostly going to be a back office type of thing. So the leadership team, the supervisors, the directors, and in franchisees, frankly, there's only a couple of people, right? And those people are the ones that are running the business. They're the ones that are going to be using it. So it's something that's used on a leadership level, but can certainly be pushed down as needed. And a lot of people do, once they get the hang of their coach and their system, business growth system that they're using, then they start disseminating to everybody else to get everybody on board and be able to measure all the metrics that are going to feed. So I would probably say more of a back office, but it certainly can be up front as well. It's just not going to be like at a point of sale location.
Correct.
It's going to be, most of the time the manager in the back that's doing their stuff, doing their sales, typing in these numbers, so on and so forth.
Yeah. No, it makes total sense. It really does make total sense. And again, I cannot stress enough, if you're a new franchisee or an entrepreneur that is looking into franchising, I mean, there's many questions that you need to ask a franchisor when you're doing your due diligence and going through your top 5 picks of a franchise. And I think that having the resources and the software available to ensure or to better ensure your success, and to keep the data that you need, and for you to monitor the data that you need, your KPIs, et cetera. If a franchisor doesn't have the adequate resources for you to accomplish your goals, I would look somewhere else, to be honest with you, because it's not worth it. Trust me when I say that. When you have an organization that has tools like Bloom or PO and the other many other tools that are out there that are great, that really support the success of a franchisee. And not only do we have the competitiveness of the other brands that are similar kind of quality, but you have all these different economic factors involved as well. And so if you're out there looking right now for a brand for yourself, especially now, take in consideration the tools that they have, and you can definitely move forward with that. And if you always go to info@z2z.com if you have any questions in regards to that, and I will definitely help you with that. One thing before I let you go is I was taking a look at your dashboard. That dashboard is amazing. It really lays everything out in it's not visually overburdened. It's really not. It's really laid out, very spread apart, and really very user friendly, I think. And you can, and when you said customizable, man, that's an understatement. You really can customize this. You really can customize this. So it's important to have that because it's a great format. I really love it. I looked at it. I've taken several attempts to navigate through it, and it's really helped me understand a little bit more. So, Marcos, I really do appreciate you're here. One last question though, and I always end this last question with this question is, in your opinion, Marcos, what makes a good franchisee?
That's a really great question. Ultimately, a great franchisee is somebody that is hungry and that is going to use the tools that they are given. You want to make sure that you are also setting your goals that are going to be in line. Use the tools that you have in front of you. Make sure that you provide feedback so you know where you're going, right? Make sure that Z is going to be somebody that accepts the guidance, right? The consultants that are coming in that are going to help them, someone that's open for growth, that's going to have a very great outlook on the feedback, using the tools, and being able to follow the steps, right? The proven process. This works. Let's get going. Let's make sure you find somebody that's going to be able to do that.
Well, great. Well, thank you very much, Marcos, for being on Z2Z. We really do appreciate your time. We're really excited. And if anybody wants to get a hold of you, how can they get a hold of you?
It's very easy. They can find me on our website, bloomgrowth.com. You can email me at hellomarco@bloomgrowth.com, or you can find me on LinkedIn. Very easy. Marco A. Sanchez Jr. on LinkedIn, here to help.
All right, Marcos. Well, thank you again. I appreciate your time, and looking forward to talking to you soon.
Absolutely. I appreciate you having me on here, and you have a wonderful day.
You too, sir. I'll talk to you soon.
All right.
Thank you, Marcos. I appreciate you taking the time out to share with us the many great features Bloom Growth has to offer our Z's and Zors. As always, you can go to z2z.com to listen to all of our previous episodes, or you can always listen to Z2Z on Spotify or on any of your favorite podcast platforms. And please subscribe, like, and hit the heart button. We appreciate your support. I like to end the podcast with one of my favorite quotes. Being prepared in life or in business separates the willing from the dreamers. Louis Picasso, Z2Z. Until next time.